All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about a book that's not just a read, it's really an experience. It's called A Great Sage and a Rascal Named Doku by Vivek Rajan Vivek. And let me tell you, it's this extraordinary philosophical journey that's designed to challenge you, entertain you, and ultimately get you thinking about some deeper self-awareness.
So the book opens with this really powerful idea. Wisdom often arrives in unexpected ways through experience, debate, moments of reflection, or even pure mischief. This line, it just perfectly sets the stage for a totally unique exploration of life's biggest questions.
Now you have to understand, this is not your typical dusty philosophy book. Oh no. This thing breathes with life, humor, and a surprising amount of wit. It doesn't preach at you or demand you believe anything. Instead, it just pulls you right into a conversation, this thrilling clash between knowledge and mischief, discipline and curiosity, logic and just pure rebellion. And right at the heart of this story, you've got these two totally opposite characters. First, there's the great sage. You can think of him as a master of wisdom, stillness, and peace. And then there's Doku, a restless, rebellious mind that just loves questioning absolutely everything. So, in this explainer, we're going to take a journey through the book's key ideas. We'll break it down into 5 parts. First up, we'll see what happens when chaos meets enlightenment. Then, we'll get into the showdown, wisdom versus rebellion. After that, we'll explore 5 philosophical journeys, uncover a new kind of wisdom, and finally, we'll wrap it all up with your final takeaways. Okay, let's jump right in. Section 1. Chaos meets enlightenment. This is really where we see the book's unique whole premise come to life, as this incredible, thought-provoking dialogue. You know, through the amazing interactions between its characters, this book becomes so much more than just something you read, it's an experience. It really encourages you to find your own meaning, not by following some rigid set of rules, but through these awesome discussions and those aha moments of personal realization.
So now let's get to Section 2, Wisdom versus Rebellion. This is where the book truly shines, because the contrast between the sage and Doku is just so compelling. It makes their conversations both super smart and, honestly, incredibly entertaining.
First up, we have the great sage. He's pretty much the embodiment of stillness, wisdom, and, spiritual mastery. His whole thing is about understanding life beyond our ego and all the stuff we want. It's about letting go of attachments to find that inner peace, seeing that suffering is really just a product of our own resistance, and getting that true wisdom is all about understanding what actually matters. And then you've got Doku, who is the total polar opposite of the sage. He's bold, he's witty, and he is constantly questioning everything. He's basically the rebellious human spirit, that intellectual skeptic, and the modern thinker who's like, yeah, I'm eager to learn, but I'm not just going to accept anything without really digging into it myself.
Now what's so cool about this is how their back and forth creates this amazing dialogue. It reflects that classic tension between doubt and truth, between chaos and clarity, and between our intellect and our intuition. And because of that, all the philosophical lessons feel so real and lively, not like something you'd read in a textbook.
And that brings us right to the heart of the book in Section 3, the 5 philosophical journeys. So beyond all the humor and the witty banter, this is where a great sage and a rascal named Doku really delivers its most profound lessons on life, wisdom, and self-awareness. The very first journey gets right into one of the book's central questions. How do we actually get wisdom? Is it something you learn through studying books, or is it something you discover out in the world through experience? Is it handed down to us, or do we have to find it for ourselves by questioning everything? The second journey is all about the illusion of control. Doku, he really represents that human desire to control life, to shape outcomes and dictate how things should be. But the sage, on the other hand, teaches that control is totally an illusion. The more we try to command life, the more suffering we actually create for ourselves. And this is where the book just hits you. It encourages us to think about how our own attachments to specific outcomes fuel so much of our emotional turmoil, and why resisting change actually holds us back from growing. And maybe, just maybe, how surrendering to the natural flow of life can lead to this really profound sense of peace. Okay, the third journey is about something we can all relate to, the endless chase for happiness. Doku, like pretty much all of us, sees happiness as this external thing you have to go out and get. But the sage just dismantles that whole idea. He reveals that happiness isn't out there. It actually exists inside you, all the time. True contentment comes when we stop searching for it and just start living it. Journey number 4 is one of the book's most transformative lessons for sure: the art of letting go. This is all about releasing your ego, your attachments, your anger, and that constant need to be right. The key idea here is that freedom isn't found in holding on tighter, but in releasing all the stuff that no longer serves you.
So our final philosophical journey explores this really interesting dance between logic and spirituality. Doku is a huge believer in logic and reason, right? But the sage is all about intuition and surrender. And their conversations really make you ask yourself, how do we balance reason and surrender in our own lives?
And the book's answer to that is so powerful. The key takeaway is that true understanding really comes from harmonizing both our intellect and our intuition, our thinking and our feeling, our knowing and just being.
All right, let's move on to section 4 and see how all of these pieces come together to create a totally new kind of wisdom. See, unlike your typical philosophy book, this one masterfully weaves all this timeless wisdom into this tapestry of humor, wit, and playful storytelling.
The result is a book that actually challenges traditional wisdom while still embracing all of its deep insights. It perfectly balances that humor and philosophy to make these big ideas way more accessible. And, I think most importantly, it encourages your own personal exploration over any kind of rigid belief system.
And here we are, at our last section, your final takeaways. A Great Sage and a Rascal Named Doku is honestly the kind of book that stays with you long after you finish reading it. It just leaves you with this transformed perspective on life.
So if you're going to remember anything, remember these crucial points. Wisdom is not about memorizing rules. It's about questioning, experiencing, and evolving. Control is an illusion. Acceptance is really the path to true peace. Happiness isn't some external prize. It exists right here, in the present moment. And letting go, that creates the space you need for deeper freedom and understanding. The book concludes just perfectly by saying, it is a journey worth taking, one filled with laughter, wisdom, and insights that change how you see yourself and the world around you. It's a perfect read for seekers, for thinkers, and really for anyone who's eager to explore life's deeper truths in a fresh and really entertaining way.